One thing that I've been noticing is how many successful, high achieving women have a lot of authority, but still somehow look or feel afraid to fully stand in it. It's almost like owning a bank and still asking for an application for a loan. And what it did was that it made something really, really clear to me. There's a difference between when you have authority and when you feel safe standing in it. Hear me when I say this. Because there's something I've been paying attention to, and once you see it, you essentially can't unsee it, right? High achieving women, no doubt, we're disciplined, we're consistent. I mean, we're high achievers after all. We know how to perform under pressure. We know how to build lives that are on the outside impressive. And yet, so many that I know, that I see, that I coach in my life, so many with real success still don't feel settled inside themselves. I hear it a lot. Women with real success who don't fully feel themselves in their own lives. There's that dissociation, feeling disconnected, watching yourself from the outside in. They are not relaxed, many are not grounded, and there's generally this feeling of being unsafe. So when you zoom out, you see why. Because the culture explains a lot of it. Not all, but a big part of it. Many of us grew up, even in the West, all over globally, right? Grew up being taught how to succeed. Go to school, get a degree, get multiple degrees, start a business for my entrepreneurial business women, all the different things, right? We grew up being taught how to be successful. We have the blueprint for success, but not how to feel safe while succeeding or even after you've achieved high levels of success. And so for a long time, I didn't have the language for this. I just knew how to function, how to do the things, keep things together, how to look composed when my body was, in essence, just bracing for something to happen, bracing for the next shoe to drop, so to speak. I thought that it was being mature. I thought, that that's how you remain disciplined, when you're on alert, when you stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. And I thought that it was just what capable women did. That's what you do. You're always ready because you don't have the, again, I didn't have the language, but you don't have the luxury of being soft and being and resting your femininity. And this is not a male or female thing. This is the energy, I guess, um, of resting in it. But over time, I started noticing something. My work life, or my life worked, but my body never really stood the test of that success. It didn't stand down. So even days where things were technically fine, my body was still in the flight, fight, fawn, or freeze way of being. And that's when I realized that rest, boundaries were not really what was happening, because it didn't matter how much I rested or if I enforced boundaries or that I even had boundaries. Those were things that were necessary and that things I practiced, but the feeling in my body didn't change, whether I enforced or didn't enforce. It was it there was a tension, like an overall just bracing. I don't know how, I'm trying to describe it, and I feel like I'm not alone in how I used to feel, because what really was happening was it was about safety. And when we think of safety, at least then, and for some of us now, we're thinking of physical safety from physical harm, like from being mugged or, God forbid, being murdered or falling down or being burglarized, that type of thing. While those things are important, I'm not minimizing them or taking away. This safety in this context is internal safety, where your body does not feel safe. And so it doesn't matter if you're in the Buckingham Palace with all the guards, or, I'm being a little facetious, but the point is, it's not the physical protection, the physical barriers that the doors locked and all those different things. It's an internal safety, and this is why it's really, really important for me to share this, because with that you can put a lock, you can stay on the well lit lanes, you can park your car. Those types of things are easy to manage and to maintain. But the internal safety that I'm talking about is one that really, really requires you to be aware of what is going on within you, and how you're living your life, how you're showing up, how success, maybe what the way you've achieved success, maybe what is causing you to feel so unsafe, where receiving threatens you physically, where you don't feel safe to receive a compliment and you have to say, oh, this little thing, I bought it for $10. These are examples. Or somebody wants to hold the door open for you and you're like, no, 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 don't worry about it, I'm so slow. Or you run so that they don't have to wait there. People offer to take your stuff to the trash. No, 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 I got it. People want to pay for things. No, 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 no. All those things, why you think you're just being gracious, are signs of not feeling safe. When a compliment that you get immediately gets you to give a compliment too. I mean, sometimes you want to, but more often than not, it's because we're not safe receiving. And it doesn't matter what it is, a gift, a compliment, your hair is nice. Oh, so yours too. Just say thank you. Just say thank you. So that's the type of safety I'm talking about. We were never taught that it's safe to be safe, that it's safe to receive compliments, gifts from strangers on the streets. It's safe to be safe. So we learned to build safety externally. And the way we do it, or we did it, was, or we do it, is through achievement, through structure, all those to do lists that every day, 10 to 20, 10 to 10, 20, drinking water, 3 hours to whatever, to read, drink. Those things, again, in and of themselves are not wrong inherently. They help to give structure to your day. Structure in and of itself isn't bad. It's when you have all these things in place like this, when you're living your life where if you miss a part of your to-do list, you condemn yourself, your whole day is ruined, you can't get out of it, you feel, there's a lot of self-flagellation, there's a lot of, I messed up, I didn't do this. That type of is what I'm talking about, those types of scenarios. So we learn to build, because of the absence of internal safety in our bodies, we learn, and I give you examples of that, we learn to build safety externally, and we do that through accomplishments, multiple degrees, achievements, going after all these different types of certifications, promotions, moving from job to job, up that career path, through structuring our days, our times, through performance, even going through things when you don't feel like showing up, when you don't want to, through being impressive. You have a lot of loftiness, you know what I mean? It's through through being dependable, not saying no, always showing up, always loaning money, picking up the tabs, those types of things. Because inside never felt like a place we could fully rest. We're relying on all these external things to make us or give us that sense of safety. And it never does, right? When safety isn't internal, you don't live by your own guidelines. You don't trust your own criteria. You don't ask whether something actually matches you, whether it's something that you desire from the inside. You just keep going. You're asking, oh, will it work? Will this keep everything going? Will this be held together if I do it? Will things remain stable? Those are the questions that you go to as a default when you lack that internal safety. And so keep doing this long enough, guess what it becomes? Your operating system, your modus operandi, your way of being. That's how you operate. And the unfortunate thing is that unless there's some type of disruptor to this pattern, many of us never stop to question it. We don't even know that it's to be questioned. It's our normal way of operating. It's the way people that are around us or the people we admire or look up to typically operate. So we're just going and going and living lives. But all the while, our bodies are highly stressed. And you have all these things that are happening where you can't quite name what is the cause of it. So something shifted for me when I saw how subtle this was, how the fact that my lack of internal safety was presenting itself in a way that even though I saw symptoms, I couldn't quite figure out what it was. I saw how easy it was to mistake regulation for success. I saw how easy it was to confuse being put together, having it all together with being safe. Because who would think that who'd have thunk that a well dressed woman with whatever all those external things that look successful isn't safe? It's easy to confuse them. I could see how often it was easier for me to pay than to pause. So rather than say, why am I getting this? Here. It was easier to buy than to feel. In fact, for a while, that's how I felt safe. I bought safety through buying. My thing was clothes and shoes. And I think I shared the story where I bought a jacket twice, the same jacket. I was so far gone into that way of operating that I didn't even know. Feel unsafe, buy something. Feel sad, buy something. Feel a little disappointed, buy something. I was using purchasing and buying to feel safe. It was easier than sitting with myself and acknowledging what was happening. Why is this feeling here? What is this telling me about what is happening? It was easier to just match shoes with jackets than to pause and really, really interrogate what was going on. I didn't know I was doing it for safety, though. That's the thing. That's why it's also very sneaky. I thought I was just being responsible. I thought I just needed to look this way to maintain this. You know what I mean? And I realized that competence had become a mask, my mask at that time. It wasn't a fake one, it was just my functional mask, my way of being, because I did not know better. So, if you are starting to feel or notice that the success that you have doesn't feel like yours, that it's not, it's causing you to feel very tense, very highly strong. It's making you wonder if it's causing you to, how do I put it, to want to do more. It's not giving you a sense of ease or rest, right? So I would let me say this. I always say that our lives are supposed to be peaceful. When there's a disruption of the peace, then there's something that we are being called to notice or observe. So if we're operating the way we're supposed to operate on earth, we should be peaceful. And then it's the lack of peace that gets our attention, right? When there's a disruption in that normal flow. So when that begins to happen, that's what I want to draw your attention to. If you're feeling like that, I want you to know that it's not you, it's your nervous system. And it's this safety that I'm talking about. Because I noticed that when I started doing this work, that for many, it's the opposite. It's disruption, chaos, all these different things, and then peace. So the normal was not peace. They were working the other way around. And that's the way it is for a lot of people, unfortunately. But for for you, if with all these external successes, if with all the things that you thought would bring you a certain feeling, you're not feeling that way, but you're feeling even maybe a bit more anxious or agitated, it's your nervous system. It's not any failure on your part. And if you're realizing that you've been living by what works instead of what matches you, what is aligned with your soul's desire, that is the awareness that you need to have. Because if being fully seen, or if being more fully okay, let me take a deep breath. And if being seen more fully feels vulnerable in any way that you can't put words to, that you can't explain, it's not your insecurity, it's your lack of internal safety. So I'll say that again because I fumbled a little bit. I want to really get this out because I'm so convicted that we have to stop allowing our external pursuits to control us and begin to own the fact that worthiness, validation, safety, love, respect, belonging are within us, and that we're all those things without that need to keep performing to feel this and to feel that. So if being seen more fully feels vulnerable in any way that you cannot explain, that you can't name, that's not insecurity. It's your nervous system. It's your body really essentially adjusting to a new level of safety. Authority doesn't just live in your mind. It's not just something that you earn. It's something that needs to be or comes from within, not needs to be. And so until you feel safe, the authority on your outside that you command by virtue of the things that you have, the position that you have, where you are in life, the levels of success that you've attained, will not be internally reflected until your body feels safe, so that you're safe enough to to feel the authority inside that you have on the outside. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I think you get my picture. And your body has to really feel safe holding it, so that you don't end up like the bank owner trying to get $100 loan. So I'm going to round up by saying, if this is resonating with you in any way, any shape, any form, if you felt parts of you along this story that I told, and you want to explore what it looks like to begin the process of stop performing for safety and start to live from it, that's the work that we're going to do we're going to begin to do in my upcoming masterclass. It's called the Soft Life Shift Masterclass. And I'm holding it or hosting it on December 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you there. It's free, but it's worth more than I mean, it's what you should be paying for. You are not doing less. You're not disappearing. You're doing life from a place that finally feels settled and finally feels safe. The link to register is in the description. I'd love to see you there, and I'll see you in the next live.